Our expedition into the underbelly of the infamous Hells Angels begins with number 5, Khadir Padir. Rising from the gritty streets of Berlin, Padir wasn't just a member of the Hells Angels, he was the undisputed leader of the gang's Berlin chapter. Born in Turkey, Padir immigrated to Germany at a young age, where he grew up amidst the tumultuous life of the immigrant neighborhoods in Berlin. The struggles of his early life, paired with the rough neighborhoods he was raised in, served as a fertile ground for his induction into the world of organized crime. Padir's rise to power was a dark tale steeped in violence, fear, and an unyielding hunger for control. His leadership of the Hells Angels wasn't just a title, it was a reign of terror that held Berlin in its icy grip. Under his command, the gang expanded its reach, delving deeper into a gamut of illegal activities, including drug trafficking, extortion, and violent gang wars against rival biker groups. Padir was a master puppeteer, orchestrating a symphony of crime that rippled through the streets of Berlin. He exercised his power with an iron fist, leaving a trail of chaos in his wake. Under his leadership, the Berlin Hells Angels didn't just survive, they thrived. The gang increased its stranglehold over Berlin's underworld, expanding its network and tightening its control over the city's criminal activities. However, Padir's reign was not devoid of controversy. Allegations of rampant drug trafficking, brutal gang wars, and other forms of organized crime plagued his leadership. Despite the mounting evidence against him, Padir displayed a devil-may-care attitude towards the law, maintaining his innocence and defiantly clashing with the authorities. Khadir Padir's journey from a Turkish immigrant to the leader of the Hells Angels in Berlin is a chilling testament to the brutal realities of gang life. His meteoric rise within the gang ranks and his eventual reign as a significant criminal figure paints a grim picture of power, fear, and a relentless pursuit of dominance in a world where survival is a daily battle. Richard de Vries, the ruthless leader from Michigan. At number 4, we have Richard Smiling Rick de Vries. Emerging from the cold industrial heartlands of Michigan, de Vries was more than just another face in the crowd. He was a significant figure within the ranks of the Hells Angels, leading the formidable Michigan chapter with an iron grip and a smile that bellied the menace lurking beneath. De Vries' story begins in the blue-collar neighborhoods of Michigan, where the future gang leader spent his early years. The rough-and-tumble life on the streets hardened him early on, molding the boy into a man who would eventually command one of America's most feared biker gangs. Under de Vries' reign, the Michigan Hells Angels adopted ruthless tactics, becoming a dominant force in the state's underworld. This surge in power was not a mere coincidence, it was a direct reflection of de Vries' own demeanor. Known for his unpredictable violence and cunning negotiation skills, de Vries was a formidable leader. His ruthless approach was a product of his uncompromising will and relentless pursuit of control, making him one of the most feared figures within the biker community. Yet, behind the wall of intimidation and violence, de Vries demonstrated an uncanny knack for negotiation. He managed to maintain a balance of power within the ranks, quelling internal disputes with a mix of intimidation and diplomatic acumen. His charismatic leadership, coupled with his relentless enforcement of the gang's rules, ensured his rule was both feared and respected. Maurice Boucher, the Quebec Kingpin. At number 3, we meet Maurice Mom Boucher, a name that strikes fear in the hearts of those familiar with Canada's underworld. This hardened criminal led the Quebec chapter of the Hells Angels with ruthless efficiency, leaving an indelible mark on the nation's criminal landscape. Let's take a journey into the reign of one of the most fearsome Hells Angels leaders of all time. Born into poverty in Montreal, Boucher's early life was defined by hardship and adversity. It was a world away from the affluence of Canada's wealthier regions, and these harsh conditions proved to be a fertile breeding ground for a man who would later command one of the most feared biker gangs in the world. Boucher's tenure at the helm of the Hells Angels Quebec chapter was a period of sustained terror, characterized by his brutal tactics and a keen aptitude for negotiation. A man of paradoxes, he was as comfortable at a negotiation table as he was in the throes of violence. It was this combination of brutality and diplomatic finesse that earned him a formidable reputation. Boucher was not just a leader, but a symbol of relentless power. He was known for his propensity for violence, which he wielded like a tool to keep his subordinates in line and his enemies at bay. His reign saw the Quebec Hells Angels rise to dominance, primarily driven by his ruthless leadership. Adam Lee Hall, the brutal enforcer. Taking our number 2 spot is none other than Adam Lee Hall, a name synonymous with brutal enforcement and a terrifying reputation within the Hells Angels ranks. Known for his affiliation with the Berkshire County, Massachusetts chapter of the notorious motorcycle club, Hall's story is a chilling testament to the violent lengths some members are willing to go to protect their gang's interests. Let's embark on the shadowy journey that led to Hall becoming a figure of dread within the biker community. Born and raised in Massachusetts, Hall was no stranger to a life of struggle. Growing up in a rough neighborhood, he was acquainted with the harsh realities of street life early on. This hardened upbringing could have contributed to shaping his character and eventual descent into the violent world of organized crime. Hall's role in the Hells Angels was not one for the faint of heart. Known for his brutal enforcement methods, he swiftly climbed the ranks to become a feared figure. His vicious and unflinching approach made him the perfect enforcer within the group, adept at executing the gang's orders without question. In 2014, Hall's reputation took a grisly turn when he was convicted for the horrific murder of 3 men. The men's only crime? The theft of a Hells Angels vest, an item sacred to members of the biker gang. This shocking act of violence showed just how far Hall was willing to go to protect the sanctity of his organization. Hall's conviction served as a chilling reminder of the lengths to which members of the Hells Angels are willing to go to protect their gang and its symbols. This brutal act not only underscored the violence within the motorcycle club, but also led to a wider understanding of the profound influence and terror that these organizations can wield. Paul Merle Eichscheid, the fugitive. Finally, arriving at the number 1 spot on our list, we encounter Paul Merle Eichscheid, a figure who stands out even amongst the rogues gallery of notorious Hells Angels. Eichscheid's story is an ominous saga, shifting from an everyday stockbroker to becoming one of the most dangerous members of the Hells Angels. With a life of crime, violence, and evasion that has intrigued and horrified in equal measure, let's unravel the tale of this infamous fugitive. Eichscheid's journey into the world of organized crime is far from typical. He didn't grow up in a tough neighborhood, embroiled in petty crime, nor was he drawn to the gang life out of financial desperation. No, Eichscheid started his adult life as a stockbroker, working a typical 9-to-5 job. His initial professional life gave no hint of the dark path he was to walk down. The turning point came when Eichscheid found himself captivated by the rugged allure of biker culture. He was drawn to the raw freedom, power, and respect that the Hells Angels commanded. Eventually, he traded in his suit and tie for a leather jacket and a membership in one of the world's most notorious motorcycle clubs. His transformation into a feared criminal was both shocking and swift. Eichscheid quickly gained a reputation within the gang for his ruthlessness and violence. His commitment to the Hells Angels cause was absolute, and he rapidly climbed the ranks within the organization, making him one of the most influential figures in the club. From ruthless leaders to notorious fugitives, the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club is a fraternity like no other. Its history is laced with notorious figures, gruesome crimes, and deadly power struggles. This is a world where the stakes are high and the price for power can be a life sentence.